the Girls Who Get It podcast. I'm Julia, and this is Puff.
I was gonna say, and that's Puff, and I'm Sam. Happy Friday, although it's Wednesday for us, but
Yes.
I'm eating some watermelon.
I have some wine
Mmm.
because I need it.
I should have got some as well, because I also could use some.
Yeah, should we just start right off with an update? Because I have a question.
Okay, yes. What's going on?
How's your ex doing?
Oh, he's good. He's still here. I think he's leaving Friday.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, he's fine. I don't know. I'll give a more thorough update, I guess, next week.
Okay.
But I mean for the most part, like it's been fine. I feel like we've bumped heads a little bit as we tend to do. But I don't know, for the most part, it's been nice having him here. And like when I got my dog, Benny, we were together and living together. So, he misses Benny. So it's nice for him to be here and like spend time with him. And he's been like helping me out a lot actually by like taking him out on long walks and stuff. And we've just been going to the beach and the pool and all that kind of stuff. So it's just been like a nice little visit, but I don't think that it's changing anything,
Oh,
you know.
okay.
I feel like we're just good friends. But we just saw the Oppenheimer movie. I actually just got back home from seeing it.
How was it?
It was good. I liked it. I don't think I would watch it again. It is very long.
Isn't it like 3 hours?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But I don't know. And normally like I really get so antsy having to sit for a long movie. And I didn't really feel that way. Maybe
Huh.
like towards like the last bit, I was kind of a little like, but it was good.
Okay.
So I don't know. I enjoyed it. And there were so many like well-known actors in it. I was constantly like, oh my God, Josh Peck was in it.
That seems random.
I mean, he played like a minor role, but yeah, it felt very random. I was like, what? I was
Huh.
constantly like, oh my God, they're in this? Oh my God, she's in this? Oh my God.
Okay.
Like, oh.
Huh. Wow. Maybe
So yeah.
I saw Barbie a little while ago. I know it was like Oppenheimer, Barbie,
Yeah,
like,
Barbenheimer.
yeah, which one? But I haven't seen Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I saw Barbie as well, like a week ago, and I think that I mean Barbie obviously is like a much like more fun movie. It's like easier to watch.
Sure.
You don't have to. I feel like Oppenheimer, they go like back and forth a lot, so it's a little bit hard to follow if you don't already know the history.
Okay.
Because I know a little bit, but like there were definitely moments where I was like, wait, oh, that happened before that? Like they go back and forth a lot. And like there'll be a scene where they're having a conversation and then it'll stop. They'll go back to some other scene from like however many years ago. And then they'll come back to that other scene and pick up the conversation where it's stopped. Like it's just it's kind of all over the place. So you really have to like pay close attention. Whereas
Right.
Barbie's just like cute, fun. But I didn't think I was gonna like Barbie as much as I did.
I thought I'd like it more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I liked the silly, lighthearted stuff, and then it just got really like why is she having an existential crisis? And like why does she want to be a human? She's Barbie, and how does that even possible? And it was a little, I feel like I'm gonna get hated on for saying this, but like I thought it was a little cheesy
Mm-hmm.
to be like, oh, as a woman you can't win, which I do believe. I believe you can't. I mean, like no matter what you do, like you always are, coming up short. But like I don't really like how they towards the end, how it was just it felt so heavy. I was sitting there like, should I leave? Like I kind of want to leave.
Oh, damn. I'm surprised that you felt that way.
Yeah, I didn't really like it. And one of my coworkers was saying like, "Oh, it's kind of political." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I don't know that I would call it political. I was just like, I don't feel like it was all necessary. I wish they would have kept it like funny and cute and Barbie ends up in the real world and I don't know. I thought Ryan Gosling as Ken was funny.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, oh, I think overall I was just kind of like, I don't know. I just didn't really know what to expect. So
Yeah.
I agree though. I felt like there were parts that were kind of corny and a little like over the top and a little too preachy. And like,
Yeah.
obviously I'm a feminist and I like they made a lot of great points in the movie, but I agree it was a little kind of like, really, do we have to,
Yeah.
do we have to make this? I agree. It like, I wouldn't say political, but like, what is the word that I'm looking
I
for?
I feel like I know what you're trying to say, but
Yeah.
it
It's like they had an agenda to push, kind of, and it's
yeah,
like rather than just making it like a lighthearted. But I loved Ryan Gosling. I thought he was fucking hilarious.
so funny. When he goes, "Sublime." That is in my head all the
And
time.
when they're singing on the beach, like all the Kens, and when they were like, "Oh, just ask him about the Godfather," like men love. I've never seen anything more accurate. That's fucking hilarious. I was cracking up.
So
I've
those
never
parts were
seen
fun.
this before. What's it about?
Yeah. Let a man
So accurate.
explain to you.
Yes, I thought that
That
was
was
so funny.
that was good because that's so accurate. Like if a lot of men, if you just even like I find at work a lot this happens where it's just like one tiny little baby opportunity to just get in there and mansplain to you, they will take it. They will take
Mhm.
it every time. And I'm like, I know, like I'm not a baby.
Yeah, I
But
know.
I
And
I, I love that.
I loved the ending too. How I feel like they purposely set it up to make you think like, oh, she's going for a job interview.
Yeah.
And then she's there to see her gynecologist. Like,
So,
I thought that was so funny.
spoiler alert.
She finally got her vagina at the
Yes,
end.
it is.
Amazing. Wait till she gets period cramps for the first time, and then we'll
Like
see if she
fuck this
wants it.
human. Yeah, fuck this human shit. But I don't know. I kind of wish it went a different way than her like ending up being human. That just felt really weird to me. And they didn't explain the connection between Barbie Land and the real world well enough to like you could what?
I
What was
agree. I agree. I thought that that was like very weird and kind of confusing, but
I mean,
because
obviously it's
like
Barbie, but
in the
you know,
real world she is a plastic doll, but then she can, yeah, I don't know.
I didn't love it. I'd like to know everyone else's thoughts. Like I know people that love every part of it. I am kind of mixed.
Did you get emotional at the end? A lot of people were saying like, oh, when the Billie Eilish song comes on, I was bawling my eyes out.
I would say no because at that point I was like, okay, I was like kind of rolling my eyes a little bit.
Mm,
I think it was just a little too I don't want to say I don't know. It didn't make me feel super sentimental and then maybe it's cuz TikTok that song is just every other freaking video and I was over it at that point. But
that's
no,
true.
I didn't really feel super emotional about it.
I do think it's a beautiful song,
It is. I just wish I
but
didn't see it a million times
yeah,
before the movie even. So
true. Yeah,
those are
but
my thoughts on it. I didn't hate it, but I didn't completely love it.
I think though what we can agree on is like their marketing team, the PR for that movie, 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
I
I
feel like
agree.
I haven't seen a movie so hyped up and like that in a long time.
I know, I agree. I was happy to see Birkenstocks in there. They had some good some airtime.
It was so funny too because I went with my friend Kayla to see it and is she, all she wears is Birkenstocks and she literally is sitting next to me in Birkenstocks.
Yep,
And that came on and I just thought it was so funny.
love them.
Do you have any updates? Because I know you told me you were going on another date.
Last week I had two dates.
Yes, which you talked about in the podcast last week.
I postponed the other. because we were gonna go mini golfing and then it was kind of rainy and we didn't really reschedule yet. I thought about reaching out this week, but then I don't know, I don't have like time till the weekend, and then I feel like maybe he's not like he hasn't reached out. It's not like he really has to because we're not like invested or anything. I don't know. But I actually had a date on Monday. It was Monday. And he brought me Taco Bell, which is major points.
Oh, okay.
Love that idea. And we played some cards. We watched some Seinfeld because he never saw it, and I love Seinfeld.
Mm.
And it was nice. And yeah, I don't really have like anything scheduled. I'll be honest. I have a lot to vent about.
Okay.
And it's nothing to do with like it's not nothing to do with my dates lately, but this is the episode, by the way. We're venting today.
Oh yeah, we didn't even say.
No,
Yeah.
we
We're
didn't.
we're just venting and chatting. We don't have a specific topic in mind.
Because I just feel like this has built up in me for so long now. I'm like just so frustrated. And like I know I mentioned my love bomber from whenever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I mentioned we had reconnected.
You did mention it to me
Private.
privately,
No.
but you
What
did not say it on the podcast. And I didn't want to say anything and
put me
throw
on
you under the
blast?
bus. Put you Yes, exactly.
Well, the thing about that is I have like zero expectations for him anymore. Because I was so disappointed before and timing was bad and whatever else. And it's just gotten to the point where it's like I don't know whether to refer to him as like whether to use past tense or current tense or whatever. But he's just someone I connected with, and he was like the first person I connected with in like a really, really, really long time. Um, so I feel like people can relate to that. Like it was a little hard for me to let go of that, but since he had sent me like a TikTok, and so that kind of started things up again.
Wait, could we get like a very, very, very quick, brief recap in case anyone missed the episode? This was like our season 2, episode 1
Mhm.
episode where we caught up, where you talked about this, but just like very briefly, or in case anyone forgot.
Okay, no problem. So in November of last year, I met this guy. I didn't really think anything of it because I don't know, I was just going on dates and not having like a ton of luck, and there was a lot of mutual ghosting happening and whatever. I was like living my life, and then we went out for drinks like randomly one night, like very last minute, and just kind of like clicked. And I actually didn't like when we left the bar, I didn't think I was ever gonna talk to him or see him again because he was really like I was like, did you even have a good time? Like I can't tell. So he was like, all right, bye. And he went walking to his truck, and I was like, could I have a hug or something? Like, what the heck? And so he like came over and hugged me, and then like very smooth, like all in one motion, kissed me and was like all charming and whatever. And then after that night, we talked like every day, and we saw each other multiple times a week, and he'd call me, and it was all mutual. Like I would reach out to him, he would reach out to me, he would initiate plans, I would initiate plans, and that went on for a solid 2 months. And there was like some love bombing going on, he'd talk about, oh, move in, and um, talk about like, I mean, he met my mom and my best friend, and like it felt very much to me more than casual. And actually, when I would say, "Oh, we're just hooking up," he'd be like, "No, no, no. If we were doing that, would I know this or would I do this and whatever?" So that went on, and then in like towards the end of January, like I had gone through some stuff, and he was, I don't know. And one day I kind of was like, "Oh, you don't want to be my boyfriend, and you don't want this, and you don't want that, so like whatever." And kind of had a moment, and I was like, "I'm sorry for that. That was a little uncalled for." And like at least to do it in that way, where it wasn't just like, "Hey, I'm feeling like I would like to move things forward and have an actual conversation." I was just kind of like, "Oh, whatever, like you don't want, you know."
Right.
So then he was like, "No, it's okay. Like I'm not going anywhere." Quote unquote, I'm not going anywhere. And then the next week he ghosts me.
Next week he went somewhere.
Yes. He went, and I don't know where. So that all happened. He had popped up like, I guess it was maybe a few weeks later. And then like it was never just like I thought it was over, but he's been, as they do, popping up. Um and so this last time, are there any more questions? Was that a good enough
Yeah, I think
like
that was a
cover?
good synopsis. So he had ghosted you and then all of a sudden he popped back up.
Well, not all of a sudden. I had maybe drunk called him, and then a day or two later he drunk called me back. And then
Interesting.
yeah, and then at one point we were kind of like snapping, and nothing has ever been like defined, Um he when we first met was like fresh out of something pretty major. So,
Wait, I have a question. So, what was like the gap of time between him ghosting you and then when he like when you drunk called him?
like a couple weeks, few weeks,
Oh, okay.
not like super long time. But yeah, so when I first
But
met
that's still like a significant amount of time
for
considering
us,
you were talking like every single day and it seemed like
yeah.
you were headed to a relationship. Yeah.
Um, so initially when we first met, I wasn't expecting to like him so much, I guess. And he said things that make me believe he liked me. Um, and like he did treat me in a way where I was like, "Oh, you like me." So he was like fresh out of something major and did say up front, like, this was maybe like our second or third time hanging out, like I'm not in a place to be serious. um and so he did communicate that, but then he was also treating me like he met my mom. Like, don't meet my mom if you don't have like any intention of like whatever. So yeah, we were in communication kind of recently. And so over the last month or so, I saw him a couple times. We actually had a really great like date. And it's funny because at first I was like, he asked me to get pizza. And I was like, "Oh, is that a date though?" And he was like, "No." And I was like, "Okay, good. Because we're friends. Like, we're friends." And so it was like actually the best time maybe we ever had together. And it was really fun and great. And then I didn't hear from him. And then like a couple weeks passed, and I forget who reached out. We were talking, and I saw him again, and he was like, "Oh, I didn't hear from you. We had this great date and I didn't hear from you." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't hear from you either." Like, okay. And then texting back and forth a little bit, but like if I texted him, he would respond. And like within a timely manner and stuff. And but like he's not reaching out to me. So I was talking to my friend at work, venting, just like that whole thing that I said just now, venting and talking to her. And she was like, "Oh, yeah, whatever." And I said, whatever it is, if he likes me, if he doesn't like me, if he's seeing someone else, if he is overwhelmed with things, I don't believe people are too busy to like just send a text. But for whatever reason, he's not
I
talking.
agree, especially if you're like really interested in the person.
Right. So I'm not
Yeah.
gonna sit here and be like, oh, make excuses for him. There's especially with our like history, you did do that once with me for a good amount of time. Now you're not. I'm not gonna sit here and like, oh, why? So that's what I was saying at breakfast at work. Is this the most appropriate place to be having this conversation? Maybe not in the caf in a public setting, fine. But I was just saying I'm not going to reach out anymore. He knows where to reach me. He's done it before. If he were interested, he would be obviously more interested. So it is what it is. That's fine. Um, and he mentioned having like a hot girl summer. I don't like do whatever you want to do. I don't really care anymore.
Okay.
Because it's not worth sitting here wondering. And that's what I was saying. I was like, I'm not reaching out anymore. I'm not putting energy into it. If down the road we reconnect and it works out better and I'm available, like, okay, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna hold my breath, right? So that's what I was saying. And my friend, shout out to Maddie, she was like, give offering advice, whatever. What's the opposite of unsolicited? Welcome. Welcome advice.
I was gonna say
She
solicited.
solicited advice. But and we were talking whatever. So we reconnect for lunch and we're talking and she was like, "Oh my gosh. The guy that was sitting behind us at breakfast this morning, he teamsed me and basically was offering me unsolicited advice because he was eavesdropping and he was like, you know, words should equal actions and basically all these like philosophical amazing like words of encouragement and advice for me as if I was sitting in the booth being like, why doesn't he love me, like what am I doing wrong? I was sitting there being like, I'm good. He can, if he's interested, he'll reach out. If he wants to see me, he knows how. I'm not gonna.
Right,
And
you
this,
were venting more than anything too, not like
yeah,
asking, what
no,
should I do?
no, I didn't ask that to anybody, but yeah, so basically he was just saying, in other words, what I already know and what I was already saying. So I was like, okay, like why insert yourself into some, like I don't understand that. And then it had me thinking of like all this advice that everyone wants to give and like every situation is different and you could like think that, oh, that's so sad for her, like she was, I don't know, whatever, like so pathetic that she would even give this guy any attention at all, or I don't know. At times I feel pathetic about it, but there's things that people don't know either. So it's like to sit there and be like, well, she should just, you think I don't know that actions matter
Right, like no
more
shit,
than
thank
words? Like
you.
I'm aware. And so my friend was like, yeah, like she's a tough cookie. Like she's like,
Is she friends with this male coworker? Like that's,
I
I don't know,
don't
it's just weird to
know.
me that it's one thing to like eavesdrop and have an opinion, but then to like feel the need to reach out. And also you're like communicating through like a work.
A Teams message. Like,
Yeah, like that's about something that doesn't even involve you anyway. Like that's not
like a,
really appropriate, but okay.
no, they're not good enough. Like friend, I wouldn't, I guess they're like acquaintances, but
Hmm.
not close enough to be like, oh my gosh, like, because if they were, I'm sure he would have joined us for breakfast and it would
Yeah,
have,
true, true, true.
so it was just really weird and uncomfortable. And I was like, I wasn't sitting there saying that like I didn't know what to do. I was saying what I was gonna do, which was not continue to reach out. Like it just made me feel so like
Was he just trying
beaten.
to say that you shouldn't like even entertain this guy at all?
I don't know. He was just like, I can't even remember exactly what the message she showed me, and I was like, isn't that what I said in like less fancy words? Because he was using all these like fancy words and phrases. And she was like, yeah, I don't know why he felt the need.
Hmm.
But it's just like makes you feel like I felt so much smaller, like, oh, did I not say that correctly? Like,
Well, yeah, and it makes you feel like you are dumb. Like, and that's exactly why too. Like, I saw we had like a comment on YouTube. Somebody said something about like, oh, I can see in Sam's face that she's just like shaking her head at the
oh,
love bomber
yeah,
story or something like that. And it's like, that's
yeah.
why I also don't, because like I know that you're not dumb, obviously. And like, what am I? I'm gonna sit here and tell you like, this guy sounds like a jerk. I don't think you should talk to him anymore. Like,
I know that he can be a jerk, but like there's also like everybody has been through this, I feel like, and if you haven't, consider yourself lucky where it's like you have feelings for somebody and for whatever reason it's not working out. Like you can't sit there and be like, "Oh, like I could say, oh, just move on." Does that ever
it's
you're
easier said than done. Like some people, I guess, are able to just turn their emotions. Like I do know some people that can really just be like cold, like, nope, I'm done. Goodbye. I wish I could be that way, but it really isn't that easy for most people. And you just have to kind of like get over it in your own time. And if it, isn't like a perfect linear path and it's like kind of like this, like you're getting over it and then you see him again. And then, like, hello, who am I to talk also? Like, hello.
your ex is in the living room right
Right.
now.
Right. So it's like, it is what it is. And we can vent and share things. And that's the thing too. I feel like it's so hard because when you're venting about things to your friends, this is why I'm like, I feel like moving forward, I don't want, like, if I'm going through a bad thing with a partner, like we're fighting or something, I don't want to get my friends involved because I feel like you always end up venting about the bad things and you tell your friends about the bad things and your
Yeah.
fights, but you don't share necessarily all the good stuff. So it's like, I mean, with this guy, I feel like if he's not giving you his full attention, and you even know that, like he's not giving you 100%. So it's like, but
Right.
you know what he's like when you guys are together. You know how he makes you feel. You know your situation. You know the good parts. I don't know that. Nobody else listening knows that. So it's like, it's easy to just hear the bad stuff and be like, oh, this guy's a jerk. Why would you even want to like speak to him again? But
Yeah.
it's like, it's not that easy or that simple or
No,
like that, like clear cut.
it's definitely not. So, um, yeah, and so just hearing that advice from some random guy at work, like, who thought, and I'm sure he meant well, that's cool. But
Yeah.
it like triggered something in me. I even wrote this down. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Here I have my
By the
note.
way, I apologize if you're watching the video. I know I feel like I keep touching my hair a lot because I just feel like it looks like a mess and I keep looking at myself and I keep like messing with it.
Oh,
And
I
anyway,
yeah. Well, you don't look like a mess.
well, thank you.
So, after receiving this unsolicited advice, and to be fair, he told my friend, not me, so whatever.
Right.
Other advice I hate to hear, and I know people like I think I've even seen this given to us before, and I know it's true for some people. This is just how I feel about it and how it makes me feel. If he wanted to, he would. I really hate hearing that, and I think it's way too like in some aspects, sure. But I think it like it's not always so black and white where it's like, well, he could, you know, if he really likes you, he'll see you every day and he'll do all this stuff for you and blah 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 blah. Blah. Like I don't
Mhm.
necessarily think that's true. I think people go through things. Um there's some truth to it, I think. You don't necessarily like blow someone off when you really like them. Like that's fair to say. Even
Sure.
like me, like if I'm talking to someone I'm really into and I really want to see them again, am I gonna take 7 hours to respond? Probably not, I would say. But I don't
Right.
think it's not that easy. It's not like all the time. If he wanted to, he just would. So,
Well, and think about like how many things that you want to do that's not even has anything doesn't have anything to do with anyone else, but just things that you're like, oh, I really want to do that, and you just don't, or you
don't.
just don't get around with it, get around to it, or you just can't, or whatever. Like
Right.
there's, yeah, like you said, it's not that black and white. It's
Or I
true.
know for me, like a lot of insecurities have held me back for a long time. Like, oh, if you like someone, you just tell them. What? What the hell? Like, that could never be me.
Yeah.
There's always something in the back of my mind to like, ooh, I shouldn't, it's just right. It's not that easy. So, kind of, kind of like maybe a similar thing, but not ready equals not interested. Like, if someone's like, I'm not ready for this type of relationship with you, I don't think that necessarily means they don't like you.
I agree.
Like, you can't force somebody to get to a point that they're just not, like, they can't commit 100% of their time and their energy to you, you know? Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
like you. Or if they're just leading you on. I mean, there's different instances. This is the one I hate the most, and I've seen it and I've heard it so much. And I'm sorry, I know this might be true for a lot of people, but you'll meet someone when you least expect it or when you aren't looking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's I don't want to say always, it's 99.9% of the time those people are in relationships.
Yeah.
So you get out here on these streets and you tell me. And I'm a person that like I don't mind being alone. I actually enjoy my alone time and my space and my own company like maybe more than I should. But I still would like to have like a partner, mostly to split rent with because it's brutal. But
Amen to that.
just to like share life with somebody, like of course I want that. And for someone to sit there and be like, "Well, you're just like what I want it too badly and so I can't have it." Like what?
I was gonna say that to me comes off as like, well, it's your fault that you haven't met someone yet because you just want it too much and you're trying too hard to find it. You need
I
to just like stop caring and just live your life.
exactly. Like how it's easy for you to say if you have that in your life. I don't have that in my life and I know what I want so clearly. Like I know I want a couple dogs and a few babies and a house with a pond and like I know what I want. The picture is clear. And so
Mm-hmm.
to just not and I'm going to try to get it regardless of my relationship status, of course, but part of that picture is like a partner that's reliable and loves me and we have this really great connection and bond and that's part of it too. And so it just seems like, oh well, you just when you least expect shut up. Like I'm sorry, but shut up because it's not fair. It's not fair to say that. And you have your dreams and goals and stuff too. And I feel like people that say that just don't really get it.
I agree. Also, like that's not always going to be true for everyone because if you are the type of person that you're like very introverted and you don't really like put yourself out there, like you just go have the same routine, you go to work, you come home, that's it. When are you ever going to even have the opportunity to run into someone and meet someone?
Right.
Even if you're not looking for, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you have to kind of force yourself to put yourself out there so that the opportunity can even arise
Yeah.
for you to meet someone. And whether that's like being on the apps or going out more like on your own and just being out and about. But I think, I don't know, like maybe not always, but like I feel that way even about myself. Like I've been pretty content just being by myself. I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily like actively looking, but it's still somewhere deep in the back of my mind. Like anytime I'm out somewhere, I'm like, I wonder if I'll meet my soulmate today.
Before every date I go on, I'm like, this could be my husband. Like because I'm tired of having these dates where I'm like, they were nice. And that's the other thing. I'm like, when when do you think like is something, you know, do you give it time to like grow and evolve, or is it something that you feel right away and there's like a spark and there's a connection right off the bat, or like what? Because I struggle so much with this, like to be quick to say no. And I think I mentioned this in the last episode because I was like, do I do another date? Do like what? I don't want to just write someone off like so quickly.
I agree. I go through the same thing. I'm always back and forth because I feel like I think like, yeah, you should give someone a chance because attraction can grow and it takes a while to really get to know someone well enough to know if you're compatible or not. And I mean, I've had the experience of like having the instant attraction and the instant connection and just moving kind of quickly and it didn't end up working out, you know?
Right.
So, but then I'm also like, I don't know if I could be with someone that I don't feel like a spark with. Like, I don't
Right.
know if I would be happy with just being like content.
That's what I'm struggling with. Cause like I meet a lot of nice guys. Like there have been a lot of nice guys that I've gone out with, but I didn't have that like, oh, like I'm so excited to see them again, you know? Which
Yeah,
I
and I feel like you can have your list and
yeah,
you can meet someone that's like great on paper. They check all your boxes, but it's just you're missing that chemistry.
right. Which is like at what point
Yeah, and then I think about like long term. It's like, okay, when I'm like 70 years old, am I going to care about like having like bomb sex? No, probably
well,
not. Um, I'll probably be happy with just like the comfort and, the stability, but but like will I get bored like I don't know, it's tough. I'm so curious, those of you who are in like long-term relationships and have been married for like, you know 10 plus years, leave us a comment or DM us and let us know what is your viewpoint on that.
it's my biggest because it's like I don't view it as wasting time, of course, but it's like how long do I give somebody before I'm just kind of like I'm not feeling it, especially
Yeah.
with dating apps because it's like we didn't know each other. We're not like bonding at work. We're not friends of friends. Like you're going out of your way to see these people that you just don't necessarily click with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something else that I hate hearing is like you have to love yourself first.
mm,
To a degree, sure. It helps to have confidence, I will admit, now that I have a little more. Um, but like, do you think everyone out there that's in love loves themselves completely? Like, no.
yeah, very true. I also feel like it's possible to love yourself while being loved by another person or while loving
Yeah,
some like
I agree. Like that you don't have to do all your healing before you're like worthy and able to be in a relationship. Like,
I also feel like does is anyone ever like fully perfectly healed? Like
I
I feel
don't
like we all like deal with shit and it's just like a constant forever battle that you have to go through your whole life.
right. Like there's never a good time to like, oh, maybe you feel really amazing and quote unquote healed in the moment, and then life happens to you like as it does, and you need to heal from something else or whatever. So you're always going to encounter struggles that you have to get over.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's like, again, it just seems like, oh, single people, you should figure your shit out and love yourself first. But if I'm in a partnership, like, well, my partner's going to help me and love me through it. Like, it's not fair.
Well,
This,
and I agree. And also it's kind of like, oh, so what if I do love myself though and like I still am single and alone? Like Does that
Right.
mean, do I not love myself enough? Am I doing something wrong?
Right.
Like,
It all just feels like, well, you're not doing it right. So, because I've never like loved myself more than probably right now. So, what's the problem? Like,
well, and also, don't you think that like if you're with a really loving and supporting partner that makes you feel amazing and really is like always just making you feel good and admire, like complimenting you, and you know what I
that,
mean? Like I feel like you can fall in love with yourself through another person's eyes as well.
yeah,
Like
I
I feel like
totally,
you can feel your most confident when you have somebody like hyping you up, kind of, you know?
yeah. And I have to say, like, that's part of what I liked about my love bomber person. Like, he, I never felt like super comfortable. I never felt like, I don't know, I should go to therapy, but like, I don't think, I never thought of myself as like the beautiful girl that gets chosen and is like, oh yeah, her, like, I don't know. I never viewed myself like that. I just always had really bad self-esteem. And so having someone that I liked be like, oh, you know, he would compliment me and it wouldn't be for anything, and it wouldn't even be just like looks. He'd be like, oh, you're so genuine, or I enjoy your company, or like stuff like that, where it's like, oh, I am like a fun person to be around, or I am like, people notice that about me, and that helps
Hmm.
so much to be like, huh. Or he made me feel comfortable in like my body, just because I didn't feel insecure like with him. um so that can totally, like, that changed me, like how I saw myself.
Yeah. And I do think that there's truth in like, if you're not happy with yourself and you don't love yourself, then you won't be the best partner to another person. Because I feel like, even just from experience I've had with clients in the salon, you just know when you get that client that like they're just miserable because they just like aren't happy with themselves, and they look in the mirror and it doesn't matter what the hell hair is on their head, they
Yeah.
hate themselves. So like they're just never going to be happy, you know?
Well,
Like,
something that I noticed, like, in dating, I mean, I've been out with a bunch of, trying to put myself out there. So if someone is insecure, it it is kind of off-putting, because you're like, well, like, and when it shows up, like last episode I was talking about that one guy that um he was a Cancer, and he was like, he would say things like, oh, a girl like you know of course a girl like you wouldn't want a guy like me.
yeah.
That doesn't help. Like, that, I don't know what you mean,
Yeah,
but
it's, that's not
that's,
attractive, and
no.
it kind of
And
puts a wall up too, because you're
right,
not able to like fully give yourself and let your guard down and be yourself. And
right. Or the other guy that was upset that he like assumed I was on a date, and I was, but like,
yeah.
he just, right, because I wasn't responding, and like, I get it, but it's also like, we're not in a relationship. Like, that to me came off as like insecure, and as we were talking more, a lot of the things he was saying I could see was coming from like his own insecurity. So it bleeds into like, and you won't even notice. Like, I'm sure that I did so much stuff out of just insecurity. Or, I mean, even as recently as like January, I feel like, since I was through all the stuff with um the love bomber, like, you can't, the way someone's treating you reflects back to them. It doesn't reflect like your worth. It reflects like
Yeah.
back to them. Um I don't know. So when I meet these guys that are like saying kind of, that are just being insecure, I do see how that can be unattractive, and I'm like, "Oh, shoot, like, I'm sure I've done that, and I'm sure I'll continue to do it without even noticing." But it helps to be more secure in yourself and confident, and when you do love yourself more, I can see how that's helpful. I don't think it's a necessity. You have to love yourself before you're able to be in a relationship. But yeah, the advice, I was like, what other advice do I hate? And there's just so much out there where it's like, no matter what, I feel like I'm not doing something right because everyone always has something to say. And it's
I
all
Yeah, I will say I feel like that I've come to learn about myself is I also really, really fucking hate unsolicited advice so much. And like being online and doing YouTube, I feel like a lot of the comments I get and the ones that piss me off the most are ones where people are giving me unsolicited advice. And I've noticed like somebody can just say something like straight up mean to me and I'm just like, yeah, whatever, fuck you. But like when it's something that's like they're just trying to assert their opinion and I'm like, I didn't fucking ask.
yeah.
That shit infuriates me because it's like I hate like the nitpicky. It's like you don't know me. You know a little bit of what I'm choosing to show you, and that's that. And just take it for what it is, be entertained by it, and then move on with your day. Like I don't want to hear it. And I don't know why that bothers me and gets to me so much, but that is like one of my biggest pet peeves.
I'm the same way because it just feels like, what am I, like, inadequate? Like I was saying earlier, was I not saying it in a way?
Yes.
I
Or
mean,
and when it's like when people are leaving comments too that it's like yeah no shit, like you're telling me this as if I'm an idiot, like yeah no
right,
kidding.
right. Or like the same thing, like in a work environment, kind of happened the other day, and I was just it triggered me because I was like, what the fuck? Like I was asked a question, and so I was answering this question, and somebody else was also answering the question after me, saying the same thing just after me. And I'm like, "Am
Mm-hmm.
I not doing a good enough job? I'm saying that. Like, why do you feel the need to also speak? Like,
Yeah,
it's
repeat.
okay. No, why are you repeating what I'm saying? Or just like, yeah, yeah. I don't need your like approval for what I'm saying. We're good. You don't worry. If you have nothing to add that I don't know, that I'm not saying, then I don't want to freaking hear it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I had something happen to me on this past Saturday that like is kind of similar where it's like I don't like when people question my abilities and my competency, like that just sets me the fuck off. And so on Saturday, I was working at the salon and my schedule, like that whole week leading up to it, just kept changing. Like I was originally supposed to have like three people back to back, single booked, and then my person in the middle ended up canceling. So I moved the last person up so I didn't have a gap. Then my first person canceled. Then somebody else called and wanted a last minute appointment. Like it just kept moving all around. And then I had someone that I think I mentioned it in like 2 weeks ago. She came in and I did her hair, and then she was like saying that like she saw a spot that was warm. So I
Right.
redid it and it was still too warm. Like, I don't know. She was just being like very particular and annoying about it, kind of whatever.
Yeah.
So I told her, I was like, hey, come back in. I can do it on Saturday because I was like the soonest availability I had. So I ended up going from what was supposed to be a normal day to like a crazy day where I literally had myself triple booked at one point. But I was like, I think I'll be able to handle it because I know my timing and I'll be able to get everything flowing pretty seamlessly. So my first client ended up being a color correction, and she like had the bottom half of her head, she bleached herself. It was all splotchy and uneven and like honey blonde, and then the top half was like a medium brown that she used box dye on.
Oh.
And then her roots were growing out too. So like it was a hot freaking mess. And her hair also just felt like it was super fine and it just felt kind of damaged and whatever. And she showed me a picture. She wanted to be like a really, really bright blonde.
Mm.
So during the consultation, I was like, XYZ, this is a color correction, so I can't guarantee your results during the first appointment. I can give you that placement that you like, but I can't promise how light you're going to get. My biggest concern is the health of your hair. I'd rather keep it healthy so we don't have to cut it all off and whatever. And she was very cool and easygoing. And she was like, yeah, that's totally fine. I get it. Like, honestly, anything will be better than what I have now. Great. So then my second client was one of my regulars. I've done her hair like 3 times now. And she's normally like such a sweet angel. Like she's an older lady. She's super nice. She just gets her roots done, like a coppery color. And then sometimes we do highlights.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm only giving all this detail because it is relevant. So anyway, I'm balancing, I'm going back and forth, whatever. While one person's processing, I'm applying color to the other person. The girl that I had to redo her money piece comes in, whatever. Everything's flowing well. I finish the color correction girl. She also had work, so she had to be done by a certain time. So I finish her and I'm telling her like, how do you feel about the color? Like, I know we didn't get as light as your picture, as we discussed, but your hair feels great. And she was like, oh my God, I love it. And I was like, yeah, if you want to come back in, we could do a second session to get you a little bit brighter if you want to, but whatever. And I was like, now that we got your base even, that's the hard part. She was like, no, I don't even think I want to. I love it. I'm really happy, blah, 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 whatever. Paid, left a great tip, left. She was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Then like the girl that I was fixing her money piece, I did that. She was happy. She's like, oh, it's great. What left? Great. Cool. So then I'm left with like my older client who normally, like I said, is super sweet and super nice and easygoing. And I thought that it would be fine to have her double booked because she was down for a single process, just root color. That's it.
Right.
So I finish her hair and she's like, from now on, can you not double book me anymore? And like, it's fine. It's fair. I can understand. I never used to double book people because I didn't really like to do that. I like giving clients one-on-one attention.
Right.
So I can understand, but it's like also all the other girls at the salon double book. Granted, they have assistants. I don't. She did have to sit for a little bit. It was like, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. She
Mm-hmm.
in total ended up, her appointment was supposed to be an hour and a half long. She ended up being there for 2 hours.
Okay.
Right. But like, if I need to double book in order to fit more clients in because I have limited availability, I'm, need to make as much money as I can, like optimize my time as best I can.
Right.
It's not like I'm leaving you to sit there for an hour and I'm neglecting you. You're in the same room as me. I keep checking on you and asking if you need anything,
Yeah.
like whatever. Fine. You don't want to be double booked. Okay. Fair enough. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I blow dry her hair and like every time I do it, I ask her, do you want me to style it for you? She's always like, no, that's okay. Like she just likes a little like flippy blowout. So I did that. And at this point, I was just kind of like, oh my God, finally, like that day was crazy. I had to pee from the time I got there and I didn't even have a single moment to pee the whole day because I was so nonstop.
Right.
And I
Right.
had all this stuff that I had to clean. Everybody else in the salon was already gone at this point. So like, yeah, by the end, I was kind of like, thank God this is almost done. I kind of want to wrap it up, So I didn't ask her if she wanted me to style her hair because every time I ask her, it's the same thing. So I did a nice blowout. And at that point, I was like, okay, everybody else is gone. Let me take my time with her. Did a good blowout, dusted her ends a little bit, all that. And then she's like, I'm not happy with the color. I don't like it. What are you not happy with? Did the exact same formula that I wrote down that I've been doing on you for months now. You were happy with it every other time. And now all of a sudden you don't like it.
Huh.
And she was like, I just feel like I need highlights. Like it just looks like, and I was like, oh, you're feeling like the roots too solid. Okay. Yeah. Like we can definitely do highlights next time to brighten it up. just had you down for a single this time, and I didn't think that you needed highlights just yet because you like to be copper, and her hair's really fine. So like if we keep highlighting you, you're gonna look really blonde, you
Right.
know? So like you should space the highlighting up a bit, whatever. Then she was like, okay. So I was like, yeah, let's schedule that now. We'll get you down for highlights for next time. So I scheduled her next appointment. She paid, left. I thought like everything was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Next day, the owner of the salon texts me and she sends me copy and paste the email that this woman sent to her, where she is like completely throwing me under the bus, and she's saying that I had 3 clients at once and her experience was not what she was hoping for. She wasn't happy with her hair. And then not only that, but she's trying to say, please let me just read this to you. Because
Okay.
this is what really pissed me the fuck. You know, it's one thing to be like, oh, I didn't want to be double booked because I want the full attention during my appointment, whatever, and like being pissed about that. That's fine. I can understand that and whatever. But this is where it really pissed me off, and it's been bothering me for days now.
Okay.
She said, I was in the salon Saturday for color and highlights. I'm very unhappy with how my hair looks. There were several things that made my visit less than I expected. Blah 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 blah, talking about how she wasn't my only client. Um, then she starts talking about my other clients that were there. One client, Sam said, was a return client. After asking for a redo, she was not happy with her hair. That's the girl where I redid her money piece, which, like, it's not like her hair was like splotchy or uneven or I messed something up. It just wasn't as bright and icy as she wanted, and she's just very particular. But like, and that's fine. Like, I agreed to have her come back in so I could just lighten it again.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like a fuck up, you know, like you don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
Right.
The other client that I was sitting beside told her hair wasn't like the photo. It was darker than she liked, but it had dimension. Next time they could go lighter. First of all, the client did not say that. I'm the one that said to her, hey, it didn't come out like exactly like the photo. As we discussed during the consultation, which she was not there for, the
Right.
client was thrilled and really happy with her hair. You don't know. You have no idea what her hair looked like when she came in. You
Mhm.
don't know anything about hair and about color correction processes. It's none of your business. Like,
Right.
you don't know what you're talking about at all. And you're going to try to go and text my boss and tell her and make it sound like I'm incompetent and I don't know what I'm doing and I'm making clients unhappy.
Because your boss wouldn't know the truth. Like,
Right. Because nobody else was there. Right. Um, and then she said her hair, all I did was roots. It now looks like she used box color from Sally's and did it herself. Sam even said that we should have highlighted it. But at the beginning of the appointment, she said I didn't need highlights and that next time we will. I told her I was unhappy and didn't like how my hair looked. She was the only stylist there at this time, and it was obvious she was ready to leave. She didn't offer to curl or style my hair, just slapped color on the roots, left me alone almost an hour, didn't leave till 2, just for roots. Then she said, I feel like when a client comes to a salon, there's an expectation that the stylist knows what to do and how to correct something the client doesn't like. It's obvious Sam isn't a good fit for me. I do not trust her judgment or knowledge on color. She kept making excuses about how her day fell apart and the salon double booked her. I would like to continue using the salon, but request a new stylist that is more experienced and easier to work with. I did make another appointment, but do not feel like I can work with Sam again. Please cancel my follow-up appointments and contact me so we can see other options.
she said work with Sam again.
Right. And what's so funny to me is like, I probably am the most experienced stylist there. And like all of the other girls, the owner included, regularly will like ask me questions, ask like my opinion, get feedback,
Mhm.
like, and I don't know. It's just very frustrating to have someone that like does not know an iota of what the fuck they're talking about. Try
Right.
to then question my skill and my abilities. And like, was that my proudest moment? No, I don't like to make people feel like I'm not giving them my full attention or have them like feel like I'm rushing or anything like that.
Right.
Obviously, like customer service wise, that probably wasn't the best appointment, but you've also already been to me multiple times before where you have been happy.
Mhm.
And now all of a sudden, I don't know what I'm doing
Yeah. No.
because I didn't
Hang out with her.
ha-
You
di-
didn't hang
because
out
I
with
didn't
her,
hang out with
Dan.
you. And that's the thing too. She is one of those clients that she just wants to talk the entire time she's there. And this is why I'm like, I don't know. It shouldn't bother me because at the end of the day, it just worked out better for me because I don't like just doing root touch-ups. Like that's boring to me.
Right.
It's kind of a waste of space on my schedule when I could be doing color corrections and like other things that are like more worthwhile that I can get content of, like
But a
um
retouch is also like one of the easiest things to squeeze in, and it has to process longer typically because it's
right.
a permanent color. And so in the time that one client's processing, you can be like partial highlighting somebody. Like, how could that not be understood? Like, it's a hustle. So for you to not even double book something like that, typically, I think is kind of rare. Like, that's not.
I completely agree. And like the 40 minutes that you have to sit there and process for me to just sit there with you and talk to you, not to
Yeah.
mention it's like we don't really have anything in common. Like
Right.
it's not like, like how sometimes you have clients that like they're similar age as you have things in common, like you're having great, interesting conversation that's really flowing. And then you have other people where it's like very forced and you're like, I don't really know what to talk about. And they're just talking to you and you're like, yeah. Like it's one of those situations. So it's like I'm kind of relieved that I like, and she was always so nice, but like
That's weird.
I'm a little relieved, like, okay, well, at least now I don't have to deal with that anymore.
Yeah.
But um at the same time, it's like it's
For
just
her,
I don't know. It's like to put my
throw in all.
ability,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's just very, very, very frustrating, especially because like I felt, especially with the color correction that day, I felt so good about it. I was like, this was best case
Yeah.
scenario. It came out so good. Her hair was not damaged at all whatsoever. And she was so happy. And it like we finished on time. It went so smoothly. Like the whole day really flowed well. And then that was just like, just
Yeah.
squashed.
It kind of seems like she took it personal that you double booked her because it's one thing to not like your hair. I wish I would have, I felt like I needed highlights. Sam didn't do it. I felt a little rushed and squeezed in. Whatever, that's one thing. But then to pull in these examples that she had of you not being a good stylist is like personal.
You're
It's like,
literally trying to shame me and like
yeah,
ruin and like, I'm sorry. It's one thing if you're going to go talk to your friend and be like, oh my God, yeah, I just didn't think she was good. You're emailing my boss. Like, are you trying to get me fired?
right. Like, seems weird to,
Right?
and again, it's somebody that doesn't know anything about hair and what's possible, and that's something that already I pretty much from the start, like in beauty school, that annoyed me, and I didn't even know everything I needed to know, where it's like people just assume that you can do anything, that, "Oh, black to blonde shouldn't be an issue because I saw this one picture of someone." Like, you have no idea what goes into it, you don't know the science, you don't know the processes, so
Yeah. And it's
Respectfully,
frustrating when you have a client but like at least I can try to explain that and educate them and we can have a conversation. And if they still are not understanding it afterwards, it's like, okay, well, you're just like annoying and an idiot. But like for you to sit there and you were not even there during our consultation, you have no idea. Like
right.
you're just making assumptions because you just want to like shit on me
Yeah.
and make me out to be this terrible stylist that doesn't know. You know, you can call me out and say like, oh, I wasn't giving you attention, or oh, I like whatever, you know, like shit on my customer service skills, that's fine. But
Right.
don't try to talk about something that you know nothing about. Don't try to make it seem like I'm not good at my job and I don't know what I'm doing. And also, if you wanted highlights so badly, it's like at that point, I wasn't going to offer to stay longer because she didn't seem like that's what she was implying she wanted.
Mhm.
She didn't ask like, oh, well, can I come in sooner? I was like, oh, well, next time you come in 6 weeks or whatever, well, you can do She wasn't like, well, can I come in sooner? Like, I really want highlights now.
Right.
And I thought about like, oh, maybe I should offer and like just pop some highlights in and stay. But I was like, honestly, I just want her to leave. Like, I just want to go home and be done, you
Yeah.
know?
Fair.
And that's, you know, that's on me and I whatever. You can call me lazy. That's fair. But don't say that I have no knowledge when it comes to color and that you don't like
Right. Because we
oh,
know about that. I've always been happy with my hair when you did it. So what a
thank you. Thank you so much. Well, yeah, and it's frustrating because like I, with the exception of the girl with the warm money piece, that was the first like even somewhat of a complaint that I have had the entire time that I've been doing hair like at this salon. And it's been almost a year now.
right, which is an amazing track record. Like,
So, right, right.
oh, yeah.
So,
She doesn't know what she's talking about. Unsolicited, not even advice. What comments?
yeah. And then it's annoying because then I felt kind of like, and I hate feeling the need to defend myself, but I felt like I should have gave an explanation at least, like, so I told, and she was just kind of like, oh, yeah, whatever. I'll
Off.
just, yeah, she was like, I'll just take her and deal with her. I was like, okay, great.
Good luck.
And she's always she'll have like 4 clients at a time. So you don't want to be double booked. Have fun being quadruple booked. Bye.
Enjoy. Because that's so normal. Like, the salon I worked in for a year, forever ago, they were pretty much always double booked. Like, every single one of them. And
That's
who was
very common.
when they were processing? Me. Like, you're never in a corner alone. There's people around you. If you need a beverage, you can probably grab someone and someone will get it for you. You don't go get your hair done to maybe the time is different too. Like, maybe you used to go to the salon back in the day and that was when, you had your girl talk. I've seen steel magnolias, but like,
But even then, there would be a bunch of them in the salon at once, and they all would be talking to each other. It's not
yeah,
like it's just you one on one. If that's what you want, go to someone that's in a salon suite that
yeah,
only can take one person at a time.
like there is that out there. I really like my hairstylist. We chat about a lot of things. I don't know how old she is. I'm like assuming, but we're close in age, I think. Like, she's really cool. Um, but when she lets me process, she goes, I'm not like butthurt. I'm not like, wait, please hang out with me. I'm like on my phone doing something. She comes back, we
Right.
chat.
And like even with me, like if I have a client that's processing, unless like we're having a real good conversation, but yeah, usually like they're on their phone. And even if I'm not double booked and working on another client, that's my opportunity to finally go pee, to go to the back and scarf something down and eat for the first time all day, like finally drink some water, like
Clean up. There's always something to be doing.
yes, exactly. Clean it. Right. And that was the thing. Like she was one of those people that like she would just be trying to talk the entire time. And it's like, I
Like this
and
is
that's fair if that's what you want. It's fair, but like, yeah, then I'm not the right fit for you then because I got shit to do.
yeah, a lot of I mean, that's normal. I've personally never been to a salon where the person sits down and hangs out with me while I process. Unless it's you, because we're doing it after hours or in your kitchen. Like I don't it's not normal
Right.
like in a salon setting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's my am I the asshole for the week.
Oh,
Comment and let me know.
I would say no, but it felt good to vent. I needed that.
Yes. I know. I really it's been like I don't know, just annoying me the last few days. And I don't know why, because I'm like, I shouldn't care. Like, I know that I know what I'm doing. And I'm kind of relieved to like not have
Or
that on my schedule anymore. So it's like it worked out for the best, but I
yeah.
don't know. It's just like, ugh. It's like when
Just
you get that one like bad comment or that one bad review that like just eats at you.
yeah. I will say the one you mentioned earlier about like your face just like you're being supportive but your face is like red flag.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I didn't feel that from you, and like you would tell me straight up if it was like you're being stupid.
Right.
So I was like, wait, what the fuck? And it
Yeah.
was like I and it's fair to say, comment whatever you want. It's a free country. But like that situation that I was talking about was like I thought about this a lot more than I would like to admit. But like you didn't know that whole situation. That was a super casual situation. Um Actually, I think she was talking about my domestic partner or the love bombing.
Oh.
Because my domestic partner was a very much a casual. Actually, I think he ghosted me. So like I
Yeah, I
didn't
forgot to
think
ask about that.
he was gonna be like I liked him and I would have liked to continue seeing him and talking to him, but I I wasn't expecting like queen treatment from somebody that I couldn't really see. Maybe that's my bad. Maybe I should expect more from certain men, but we weren't like in a relationship. So I was
Well,
like,
that's the thing too. Like people can be like wanting better for you and advocating for you and you
oh,
know what
for
I
sure.
mean? But
Yeah,
without shitting on you at the same time and making you feel bad or making you feel like you're being dumb, you know?
I feel bad. I was like, oh, I am a sad, pathetic girl. And that's like sometimes that's the case, and I sit here and I feel sorry for myself, but like that was not that. I'm just trying to date and hopefully end up with someone that we have a mutual connection. I don't, but that's like kind of unsolicited too. Like you don't know everything about every situation. We don't know, they don't know. So it's like, but it is so frustrating because to pass judgment on something that you don't really know anything about, and we all do it in some way or
Sure,
another.
yeah.
It's just like that gets so frustrating because
Yeah, I agree. And don't make assumptions about what I'm thinking and like
you would say it
w-
right here to my
what
face.
my facial expressions mean. Right, exactly.
You would say red flag, like what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
If maybe you don't know us like that yet, but there's not gonna be something that you're
Because I
like,
know that like yeah, like I'm here for I love to hear the stories. I am so here for it. I'm like, ooh, what domestic partner who? Because I know that you're not an idiot. And like
or
yeah,
like we're both adults, so it's like if I want to be doing something stupid like reconnecting with someone that ghosted me, that's my decision.
Exactly.
Want to have your ex sleep in your living room or wherever he's sleeping alongside you, that's your decision.
Right, exactly.
And I trust that you are doing what's best for you. I'm trying to do what's best for me. Like, and this is, you guys don't know, like, we wanted to make this podcast a long time ago. This has been going on for me, these situations, these stories. This is why we started it since beauty school. I've been telling Sam these things since beauty school, and she's been real with me since then. So it's I don't think she's hiding any thoughts from me.
And vice versa. I mean, like, I have also had my, you know, experiences
Sure.
prior to the podcast. So,
Yes. We've been through it. I mean, but yeah, it felt good to vent. I hope it
yes.
like hurt anyone's feelings. I know people feel pretty strongly about the whole like you'll meet them when you least expect it thing. It's not for me, and please don't comment it towards me. Please, I beg of you. It's just upsetting. So,
I think it just a lot of, I feel like people who comment that that was their experience,
and I'm so happy
you know,
for her.
and yes, that's great. But it's not always everyone's same experience. And
No.
yeah, but I always love to hear how people met. So
I was actually thinking that would be a fun episode. I was almost about to like go through Reddit and see if I can find any stories. So if you guys want an episode on that, like send us your stories on how you met your
yes.
partner.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's what we should do for next week. I love that idea because I love
Me too.
hearing how people met. Like, that is
Yeah. Might
so
give me
good.
some hope. So
True that. So yeah, send us a DM on Instagram at Girls Who Get It Podcast. Or if you're watching on YouTube, you can leave a comment under this video
yeah.
and tell us your story, how you met your partner, whether you're together still or not. You know, we just
Whatever your
love a good story.
favorite meet cute story. We'd love to.
Yes.
And we'll TTYL.
Yes. See you guys next Friday. Bye.